Imagine someone sitting down at their laptop to write a newsletter. Like, they do it on a Tuesday.
Right, just a standard Tuesday.
Yeah. And then they do it again the next Tuesday. And the next, I mean, they did this every single week for 3 straight years.
Wow. 3 years.
Yeah, 156 weeks in a row. Rain or shine, whether they feel, inspired or just completely burnt out.
That takes some serious dedication.
Exactly. And then, after all that, they land this massive, life-changing book deal.
Yeah.
And what does everyone looking from the outside say?
Let me guess. They whisper, wow, they got so lucky.
You nailed it. We have this ingrained habit of treating success like it's a magical, invisible lightning bolt.
Like it's totally out of our control.
Right. We act like the universe just randomly decides to hurl good fortune at a chosen few,
Yeah.
while the rest of us are, I don't know, just stuck holding umbrellas.
Well, yeah, because it's easier to think of it that way, right?
Totally. But today, we are taking a completely different approach. We're doing a deep dive into this deeply compelling essay by Justin Welsh. And, well, he makes a claim that just flies in the face of everything we've been taught.
He really does. It's a fascinating premise.
He argues that luck isn't random magic at all. It's actually highly predictable. In fact, he says luck is mostly just math.
It is a phenomenal shift in perspective, isn't it? Because if you accept that underlying premise, that luck is essentially just a mathematical equation, then you're forced to accept that you can manipulate the variables in that equation.
Yeah, you take ownership of it.
Exactly. You are no longer, standing in an open field hoping for the lightning to strike. You're building a lightning rod.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to me, we normally treat our careers or our ambitions like we're playing the lottery.
Oh, for sure. We buy a ticket and just pray.
Right, we cross our fingers and we hope our numbers get picked by some invisible machine. But what Welsh is saying here is that we shouldn't be buying lottery tickets at all. We should be counting cards at the blackjack table.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, like stacking the statistical odds so heavily in our favor that winning doesn't just become a vague possibility, it becomes an inevitable outcome over a long enough timeline.
What's fascinating here is how that specific shift in mindset completely rewires your daily behavior. I mean, it immediately moves you, the listener, from being a passive victim of circumstance.
There's someone just waiting in the wings to be chosen.
Exactly. It moves you into being an active, deliberate creator of opportunity. When you count cards, to lean into your analogy, you aren't somehow magically changing the deck.
Cards are the cards.
Right. What you're doing is understanding the mathematical probability of the next card so deeply that you adjust your bets accordingly. But to do that in the real world, we first have to, well, completely shatter the illusion of what a lucky break actually looks like behind the curtain.
And the source material gives us some incredibly harsh reality checks on that front, like going back to that author with the book deal.
The one everyone called lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at the actual data. The essay cites statistics directly from Substack, which is one of the largest newsletter platforms on the internet.
Right, a massive data set.
Huge. And their internal data shows that the average newsletter writer quits between weeks 14 and 16.
That is the defining metric right there, week 14.
Right. You're barely 3.5 months into a project, you look at your subscriber count, you feel discouraged, and you just give up. You fold.
It's so common, though.
It is. But then, a few years later, you look at the person who stayed in the chair for 156 weeks, and you have the audacity to call them lucky.
It's ridiculous. It completely ignores the sheer volume of effort required to generate that serendipity.
Yeah.
And the text gives another brilliant example of this. There's a woman who lands a massive, highly lucrative partnership deal through LinkedIn.
And again, the peanut gallery immediately cries, luck.
Of course they do. But the reality of that situation, that luck was the direct mathematical result of her showing up and posting relevant, highly valuable content every single day for 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Wow.
Right. She didn't get lucky. She systematically built an audience and contributed consistently until an opportunity, well, mathematically had to collide with her.
Okay, I hear the logic there, but I feel like I need to push back on this a bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Because it sounds nice and, I don't know, egalitarian to say it's all just hard work. But surely natural talent plays some role in this equation, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
Like, what if someone listening right now just isn't a uniquely gifted writer? Or maybe they aren't a charismatic, natural-born networker. You can't just spreadsheet your way out of a severe talent deficit.
It's a very valid challenge, actually, and it's something the author addresses directly, based on years of observing highly successful founders.
Oh, really? What does he say?
His observation is actually quite comforting. He notes that the luckiest people usually are not the smartest people in the room. Yeah, they are very rarely the most naturally talented or gifted individuals. What they are, however, is relentlessly prolific. They are the people who front-load the effort.
So they're essentially making up for a lack of raw talent with sheer volume.
Precisely. Think of it less like a talent competition and more like venture capital investing.
Okay, tracking with you.
A venture capitalist knows that out of 10 startups they fund, 9 might completely fail or just break even. But they don't need all 10 to be winners.
Right, they just need one massive hit.
Exactly. Just one to be a massive success to pay for all the failures.
Oh.
And the people who manufacture luck operate the exact same way.
They just place more bets.
Yes, they launch more side projects, they initiate more conversations, and crucially, they fail far more often than the average person.
So it's a numbers game.
Totally. If someone is twice as talented as you, but you take 10 times as many shots, your mathematical probability of hitting the target completely dwarfs theirs.
That makes a lot of sense. The sheer volume of opportunities you create mathematically overtakes their talent advantage.
Exactly.
So if luck really is just a numbers game, and we need to dramatically increase our volume of bets, how do we practically do that?
Well, the essay actually outlines an exact formula.
Yeah, 5 specific levers you can pull to stack the odds in your favor. And what I really appreciate about this framework is that it starts with 3 actions that are entirely solitary.
Right. You don't need anyone's permission for them.
Exactly. You don't need a gatekeeper to say yes. You can just start doing them today.
The solitary reps. And the very first one he identifies is simply to read more. But there is a vital nuance here that honestly completely changes the value of this advice.
Yes, this completely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
You would assume a guy writing an essay on business success and algorithmic luck would say, like, go read the top 100 business strategy books of the decade.
But he explicitly advises the opposite.
Right. He states that he gets significantly better, more actionable business ideas from reading random fiction novels and personal development books than he ever gets from traditional business literature.
It makes perfect sense when you analyze how true innovation happens, though.
How so?
Well, if you only consume traditional business books, you're absorbing the exact same frameworks, the exact same corporate jargon, and the exact same historical case studies as millions of your competitors.
Your brain just becomes an echo chamber.
Exactly. Your internal database of ideas becomes completely commoditized. But when you read a sci-fi novel, or, say, a book on evolutionary biology, you are forcing lateral thinking.
Oh, I like that. Lateral thinking.
You're pulling a concept from a completely unrelated field and applying it to your own problems. That friction between 2 unrelated ideas is what generates a truly unique insight.
But having a unique insight in your head doesn't do you any good if it just stays there, which naturally leads to the second solitary rep. Write more.
Right, getting it out of your head.
Yeah, and the essay makes a crucial distinction here. This isn't about journaling your feelings or practicing perfect grammar. It's about externalizing your thoughts.
Giving your ideas a physical presence in the real world.
Exactly. And Welsh notes a specific detail that I loved. He says he still gets brand new clients reaching out to him who discover his work through articles he published years ago, like back in 2022.
Which is an incredibly powerful concept. I mean, when you write an article and put it online, it doesn't cost you anything to keep it there.
Nope, it's just out there.
But every single day, it is acting as a beacon. And the third solitary rep scales that concept even further, which is build more.
Build more.
Yeah, meaning creating actual tangible assets, software, templates, frameworks, or educational materials, things that generate value independently of your time.
Like a product.
Right. He uses his own first flagship course as the prime example here. He invested roughly 90 hours of deep, focused, exhausting effort into building it once.
90 hours is a lot.
It is. But that upfront effort continues to generate financial returns for him day after day without requiring any more of his time.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because if we look at writing and building through this mathematical lens, it's like you're building a massive fleet of tiny autonomous robots.
Oh, that's a great way to picture it.
Right. You spend the grueling 90 hours to build a robot. Once you write the in-depth article, you record the course, you code the tool, and then you release it into the wild.
And it just goes to work.
Yeah. While you're sleeping, or while you're at your kid's soccer game, or while you're busy building the next robot, that digital fleet is out there working for you.
I love that.
They are networking for you, they're pitching your ideas to strangers, and they are colliding with opportunities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That is a brilliant visualization of the mechanism at play. In economics, we actually define this exact dynamic as asymmetric risk.
Okay, let's break that down, because asymmetric risk sounds like something you'd hear in a stuffy hedge fund boardroom. What does that actually mean for the listener?
Simply put, it means the floor is concrete, but the ceiling is infinite.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, with symmetric risk, if you bet $1, you can lose $1 or make $1. The downside matches the upside. But these solitary reps, reading, writing, building, they are asymmetric.
Because the downside is capped.
Exactly. Think about those 90 hours he spent on his course. That is a strict, finite limit on his risk. The absolute worst-case scenario is that nobody buys it, and he loses exactly 90 hours.
So the floor is concrete.
Right. But the upside, the potential return on that effort, is effectively infinite. There is no mathematical cap on how many people can discover that course, buy it, or share it over the next decade.
Those digital assets have an infinite shelf life of potential luck.
Exactly.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for the listener who's driving to work right now. Like, they're already working 50 hours a week. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they're just exhausted.
Very common scenario.
Hearing, just go spend 90 hours building an asset or write every single day probably sounds completely overwhelming. How do we apply this without just burning out?
The author is actually highly pragmatic about this. You do not have to conquer all of this at once. The math still works if you start incredibly small.
So just taking micro steps.
Yeah. If you don't have 90 hours to build a course, do you have 2 hours on a Sunday to write one thoughtful post? Do you have 20 minutes on your commute to read a chapter of a book outside your industry?
Just getting those reps in.
Exactly. You are just trying to accumulate data points. Every small asset you put out there is one more autonomous robot working for you.
That's a really great reframe. Okay, so you've built your mental assets by reading and your digital assets by writing and building. Your robot fleet is out there.
Right.
But digital assets can't, like, sign a contract. An algorithm can't invite you to join a board of directors or offer you a partnership.
No, it can't.
Eventually, all of that digital momentum has to intersect with an actual human being, which transitions us perfectly from the solitary reps to the network reps.
Exactly. You cannot generate massive success in a vacuum. So the fourth lever in the formula is to meet more people.
Meet more people.
Got it. And the source material is very transparent about this. When Welsh was scaling his own consulting business, the vast majority of his significant clients did not come from some anonymous algorithm recommending him.
Where did they come from?
They came through direct human connections.
Right. The essay lists them out. It was a venture capitalist he already knew, a former colleague from a past job, someone he intentionally grabbed a coffee with, or an online connection he took the time to actually build a relationship with.
Because the math here is brutally simple.
It's surface area.
Yes. Increasing the size of your network mathematically increases the surface area for luck to strike. You're simply trying to maximize the probability that when an opportunity arises in a specific field, your name is the first one that pops into someone's head.
But just meeting people is only half of the networking equation.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's the selfish half.
It is.
The fifth and final lever in this entire formula is arguably the most potent one, which is introduce more people.
Yes, the ultimate luck creator.
Because it is the only action that generates massive value for two different people simultaneously. But his practical methodology for doing this is, well, it's intense.
It's definitely structured.
He doesn't just say, be nice and introduce folks. He advises keeping an actual, literal spreadsheet of the people in your network.
A literal spreadsheet.
Yeah. You track their specific skills, their core competencies, and most importantly, you track their current needs or pain points.
Right.
And then when you're reviewing this spreadsheet and you spot a clear synergy between two distinct people, you reach out, you get mutual buy-in from both sides, and you make the introduction.
It is a radically proactive approach to relationship building. You aren't just hoarding contacts in your phone like a dragon hoarding gold. You are actively looking to deploy those relationships to solve other people's problems.
I have to jump in here and push back hard on this one.
Okay, let's hear.
Because to a lot of people, myself included, the idea of maintaining a literal spreadsheet of human beings, categorizing their skills and their needs, it sounds incredibly clinical.
I can see that.
Honestly, if I found out I was sitting on someone's Synergy spreadsheet, I think I'd feel like a pawn. How do we actually do this without it feeling slimy and transactional?
This raises an important question, and it's honestly the most common psychological barrier to effective networking. But if you analyze the actual mechanics of what he's suggesting, it is the exact opposite of being transactional.
How so? Because it sounds transactional to me.
Well, transactional networking is fundamentally about keeping score. It's the mindset of, I will do this favor for you today, but you owe me, and I expect you to do something for me tomorrow.
Right. It's about extracting value.
Exactly. But what Welch is advocating for is becoming an intentional connector. When you're looking at that spreadsheet, your entire goal is to solve two other people's problems simultaneously without asking for a single thing in return for yourself.
So the mutual buy-in is the key. You aren't just forcing an intro to show off who you know. You're saying, hey, you need a designer, and I know a great designer who needs clients. Can I put you two together?
Precisely. You are freely giving away the most valuable commodity you possess, which is your trusted reputation and your relationships.
And people remember that.
Oh, absolutely. When you successfully solve a massive headache for two people, without asking for a cut or a favor, you generate an immense amount of deep, genuine goodwill.
Because you helped them when you didn't have to.
Exactly. Human psychology dictates that those people will naturally, organically look for ways to return that value in the future. Your luck expands exponentially because you suddenly have dozens of people actively scanning the horizon for opportunities on your behalf.
Okay, I see the vision now. So we have the complete 5-part formula. Read more, write more, build more, meet more people, introduce more people.
That's the playbook.
It is logical. It is entirely within our control, and the math makes sense. But this brings up a glaring question. If the blueprint is this simple, why isn't everyone walking around wildly successful?
That is the million-dollar question.
Like, why isn't the world just packed with lucky millionaires who figured out the math?
Because there is an invisible engine required to make this entire mathematical formula function. And that engine is time.
Time.
This brings us to the core reality of the entire essay. These 5 activities compound, and they compound in the exact same way that money compounds in an index fund.
The compounding effect.
Yeah.
The essay actually maps out this chain reaction beautifully. It's not that these 5 things happen in isolation, right? They feed each other.
Exactly. It's an ecosystem.
Like reading widely leads to better, more unique ideas. Those unique ideas dramatically improve the quality and originality of your writing. That high-quality writing goes out into the world and acts as a magnet, attracting a larger audience.
And it just keeps rolling.
Yeah. That larger audience expands your network, which allows you to meet more people, which gives you more opportunities to make valuable introductions. The entire system feeds on itself.
And we have hard data on what that compounding looks like in reality. Welsh is remarkably transparent in the text. He explicitly states that he isn't special. He admits to having many flaws. He says he isn't the smartest guy in his industry, and there are countless ways he could optimize his workflow. But, and this is the fulcrum of his entire argument, he has been executing these consistent reps for 6 straight years.
6 years. And let's look at the mathematical output of that 6-year equation. The essay states he grew his following to 1.5 million people, and he built a business generating $12 million in revenue.
That's incredible.
And he's doing it at 90% profit margins. That is a staggering outcome. But you can't ignore the first half of the sentence. It took 6 years of relentless compounding to get there.
Which perfectly explains why the vast majority of people fail to manufacture their own luck. The bottleneck isn't talent, and it isn't intelligence. It is simply a profound lack of patience.
People want it now.
Right. Most people are completely unwilling to execute a strategy consistently if they don't see immediate validating results. They don't want to build a lightning rod for 6 years. They want the lightning bolt today.
It's the exact same psychology as the January gym resolution.
Oh, that's a perfect comparison.
Right. If you walk into any gym on January 2nd, you can't even find an open treadmill. The place is packed. Everyone is highly motivated. Everyone is doing the reps. But what happens by the 3rd week of February?
It's a ghost town.
The gym is a ghost town. Because people looked in the mirror after 14 days, didn't see 6-pack abs, assumed the math of diet and exercise didn't work for them, and they quit.
Yep.
And the source material points out this exact behavior in business. People will write 3 newsletters, get 12 subscribers, and quit. They will attend 1 networking event, fail to meet a life-changing mentor, and declare networking a waste of time.
They fold at week 14.
Exactly. They launch one digital product, and when it doesn't make $1 million overnight, they abandon the whole concept of building assets.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is actually the most empowering realization in the entire analysis. Welsh reframes human impatience entirely.
Okay, how so?
The fact that everyone else gives up so quickly is actually your greatest competitive advantage.
Say more about that. How is their quitting my advantage?
Because luck is merely the accumulated effect of showing up. Think of it statistically. Every single day that you make the conscious decision to just stay in the chair, to write the post, to read the chapter, to make the introduction, millions of other people are hitting that week 14 wall on Substack and deciding to quit.
Oh, I see.
By simply not quitting, you aren't just taking one small step forward. You are statistically leapfrogging the masses of people who just remove themselves from the equation entirely.
Because the denominator gets smaller.
Exactly. Your odds of getting lucky improve drastically every single day you stay in the game simply because the pool of competition is shrinking.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've pulled apart in this deep dive, the ultimate takeaway is incredibly clear. Luck is not determined by the mysterious whims of the universe.
No, it's not.
It is not a magical lottery ticket handed to a chosen few. It is mathematically determined by your willingness to show up, do the highly unglamorous work, and simply outlast the quitters. You redefine unique ideas. You write and build to create autonomous assets. You meet and introduce to generate human goodwill. You just keep taking the shots.
And as a reminder for you listening to this right now, you do not need to implement all 5 of these levers perfectly by tomorrow morning.
Definitely not.
The beauty of this mathematical approach is that even if you just select 2 or 3 of these habits, maybe you focus purely on the solitary reps because you're an introvert, or you lean heavily into the network reps because you thrive around people if you execute them consistently, it becomes mathematically very difficult to fail over a long enough time horizon. Just start accumulating the data points.
Accumulating data points. I love that phrasing. Which leaves me with one final, slightly provocative thought I want you to mull over as you go about the rest of your day.
Let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time dissecting how to scientifically manufacture good luck. But if good luck is just a measurable output of volume and consistency, then maybe what we've been calling bad luck all our lives is simply a lack of data points.
That's a powerful thought.
Think about the last time you felt truly unlucky. The last time you were rejected for a job or a side project totally failed, and you felt like the universe was actively conspiring against you. Did the universe actually single you out, or did you just stop flipping the coin too soon?
Right.
What would happen to your career or your life if you reframed your next big failure, not as a personal setback, but simply as one more mandatory data point on the mathematical path to your inevitable success? Remember, you don't have to sit there hoping the dealer magically hands you a blackjack. You just have to stay at the table long enough to count the cards.